because I didn't want to screw over our shackles and all that kind of stuff. Hold on a second. All right, and here we are for round one, and we won the die roll, and we're gonna play first, so that's cool. Um, sure, I think this hand is great. Let's keep it. Yeah, so like I said, I cut the white stuff because I didn't want to mess with our mana base too much, and I didn't want to play too many non-basics because we do have the Vidalcan shackles, which means we want to have more basic islands for sure. I think we are a little bit lacking, well, very lacking in the creature removal department, but we do have like a lot of big things that kind of let us, we can steal their creatures, take control of their creatures, that kind of stuff, and that's pretty good. Let's start with an Arbor Elf here. And we do have the blue-green fetch land, which is nice. Interesting. So I can get the blue-green fetch land, preordain, then untap it to play Looter. That seems good. See, so we've got a good interaction with Arbor Elf here. This is one of the times where Arbor Elf is better than the other elves. Bink. Alright, we're going to preordain here. Don't really think I need Stomp Hauler. Farseek I think is actually fine here. Let's put that on top. Alright, then we're going to untap our forest here. And if we end up drawing too many lands, we do have the Looter, so we can deal with that. But Farseek will get us to some of our bigger stuff pretty fast, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. An early Kaiga can potentially close out the game pretty quickly, so I don't feel too bad about that. We might be playing against another ramp deck here. I mean, why else do you play green, right? And certainly we are. Sure. We've got ramp 2. Alright, so might as well attack with Looter first. Probably ditching an island here. I'm not going to attack with Arbor Elf because we could loot into something that we want, and the 1 damage is probably inconsequential. Definitely want to keep the Venser, so we're going to get rid of an island here. Then we're going to go ahead and cast blue-green. Kind of put an island into play. Kind of play another island. And say go. So next turn we will have enough to Kaiga. And I don't think our opponent, if he's playing, well, okay, so he's got a little bit of white, so he might have some way to deal with it. This could be a problem, whatever this is. It could be like a Garruk. Yeah, okay. Well, not the Garruk I was as worried about, but this is still pretty good. Because now he can play a big threat next turn as well. This guy, he gets hexproof and indestructible if you make it monstrous. And it makes it a little bit bigger. But I think we're still just kind of like racing him pretty well here. I don't think there's a reason to like mess with that necessarily. And so I think... Alright, so let's attack with our Looter first. And then I think we're just going to play Kaiga and just try to beat down our opponent. We can kill his Garruk when, fly over to kill his Garruk and then start attacking him, all that good stuff. Going to attack him, so I get to loot. Don't know what I want out of the loot, but we'll find out. Stomp Hauler, he hasn't played any targets for it, so I think I'm okay just discarding that. Ugh. Horrible interface with Arbor Elf here. got a Kaiga. So what do you think of that, buddy? Again, not really the best of threats. I think they took Green Titan out of this cube because I haven't seen it yet. You know, I've played a few times around. So either I've just had weird cubes that haven't had it, um, or I think they actually took Green Titan out. Which, you know, I mean, I understand. I mean, it's a card that is just kind of an automatic pick for most people. So sometimes it's fun to mix up cube by taking away those cards that everybody's bound to pick. And it's certainly a very powerful card. I mean, it just makes ramp work. I mean, it's actually, you know, one of the scariest 6 drops for your opponents to play when they're playing ramp, because then it just lets them do so many things after they play that. And if you can't answer it, it's like game over because they'll just thin out their deck and everything else, and you know, all that good stuff. So if he's just making his guy monstrous, that's fine with me. Playing a Thran Dynamo is fine with me. I mean, he might have like the Kozilek or whatever. We did see that. So we do have that to be aware of. Treachery is interesting. It would certainly let us steal a Kozilek, which is cool. So I think we're going to start off by attacking our opponent with Looter and Garuk with Kaiga. 3 Pith Horror 1. That is a name. That is a name you can choose. And we will loot. This is kind of a tough decision. I mean, do we want to lose our Venser here? I kind of feel like if we just hold up Venser this turn, aren't we just winning, I think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we will have 7 mana. Like, we do want to cast our Woodfall eventually, but at the same time, I just don't care that. I think our cards are just so good in hand. I mean, I think like the only other card we could justify discarding would be Venser, and that's a good card, man. It's kind of a weird spot. You know, this is why looting isn't quite as good as card draw, as it turns out. If he just goes monstrous here, I mean, it just means our opponent has nothing to do. Now, if our opponent does cast Kozilek, well, 3, 6, 7. I mean, so he's too far away from that if that is what he has. You know, but he does look like he could be one of these big ramp decks. Like, you don't play Thran Dynamo unless you're trying to get to something huge, usually. So it's possible he's a Kozilek type deck, but now he's a bit far away from the mana for that, so... And if he plays something we can steal, well, we can steal it, and that would be cool. If he plays something like a Planeswalker, we can probably just bounce it. If he just makes his guys monstrous, like I said, I don't think it's really doing much for him. If he makes this guy monstrous and attacks, I'm probably just bouncing the beast, I guess. I think that'd be okay. But we shall see. Yavimaya Elder. I mean, it doesn't... Okay. Doesn't really do anything. So yeah, I think he's just got nothing in hand as far as ramp cards go. He immediately wants to sack this and search up some things. Sure. You know, or he may be working up to that Kozilek or whatever. Or he might have some weird double color spell that he needs to cast or something that he's been screwed on. Alright, so this thing I'm going to go ahead and bounce. Just slows him down a lot. Put that back to your hand. You can attack if you want, I don't mind. I will take a little bit of damage here. You know, eventually I'll get to Treachery something or something. Cryptic, of course, is crazy good. I mean, we're winning the race here, right? 5, 6, 7, 8 we're hitting for, and then 8 again. Yeah, so we're winning the race here by a lot, even without having to cast our other spells. So, I mean, I think we just keep attacking and we keep Cryptic up, and we're good to go. Here's going to be another awkward thing again where we draw a card and probably have to discard it because... Oh, if only it was something my opponent controls that was making me discard the obstinate Baloth, but unfortunately is me. We could have attacked with Arbor Elf there too, I guess, which potentially could be relevant. I don't know. But looks like Cryptic's gonna keep us alive here. The question is, if he goes to cast his Planeswalker again, do we counter bounce? Do we counter tap? Do we counter draw? He's got a lot of cards in hand. I mean, one of them's a Plains, one of them is a Johnny, and then he's got 4 other cards. Okay. I think we're just gonna counter. We're definitely countering. Do we counter draw? So actually, we could let him do this and then end a turn, just tap all his dudes. Yeah, because this really doesn't win him the game, and the next turn we just win no matter what. And he can hit us if he can. So if he plays a Plains here, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can give this double strike. It's going to be a 4/4. So I'll take 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm not actually dead. I can counter any spell he has. So yeah, I think that's okay. And I think we just win no matter what. You know, I'm just trying to make sure we're playing it safe, that there's not anything I'm missing here, but I just don't think there is. Sure. He gets a counter, that's something. You gonna make him monstrous too? You're gonna do that guy. That doesn't do anything. Okay, he's a 5/5. Sorry, I'm playing this a little slow and being a little cautious here. I don't think there's any way for us to lose. I'm just going to jump here 5, 6, 7, 8. Although it does mean... Actually, I'm not going to jump here. I just don't think there's anything he could do here. Well, we've got a Cryptic Command. Yeah, there's nothing he can do here. I don't know why I'm being quite so cautious here. I'm just really trying to make sure I don't make some silly mistake. But clearly we're just going to tap his team and draw a card here. Tap all creatures your opponent controls, draw a card. He can't really have a counter here. Alright, and we win that one. So, I mean, his opponent, or his deck just looks like a ramp deck. It's got some Planeswalkers. I don't think this Ajani is that great. I mean, he's not the worst, but I don't know. It's not necessarily what you want to be doing in a deck like this. So he's got some, like, Planeswalkers, but he's got some, like, just middling sort of guys here, too. I don't, I mean, we could, side in, like, Faith's Fetters to try and deal with some of the Planeswalkers, but I don't think that's really great. He does have a artifact at least. We could side in some of the stuff to deal with that, but I just really think we're fine. Our main deck's mostly going to get there. Woodfall Primus can destroy Planeswalkers, so that's cool. I mean, and none of the Planeswalkers seemed like such a huge issue, and we do have ways to bounce them and ways to counter them and other things. I could see splashing Faith's Fetters here, but I think we're fine. I think it just costs too much to change our deck like that.